Hi, everyone. My name is Tharmila Rajasingam, a real estate agent with eXp Realty brokerage. And today I'm with Ken Ossowicz from Cape Coral, Florida. And we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. What is it like getting into real estate as a new career after retirement? So Ken, before we get started into some of the questions for today, can you give everyone a little introduction about yourself?
Sure. First, I'll say thank you, Tharmila, for having me. I appreciate you doing this. This is a great way to get our information out there. But sure, I'll be happy to go into that. So I started out. This is a second career for me. I spent 30 years as a firefighter here in my city in Cape Coral, Florida. I started when I was really young. I was 19 years old when I came into that job. And I stayed for a really long time, and I stayed for 30 years. And I stuck it out and retired. My final position was as a battalion chief. Enjoyed almost every day of that job. It was, always challenging, always something new, and that's what I like most about it. And that's what kept me there for so long. But when I retired, I get the question a lot. You must have gone into this because you were bored, right? And I'm like, no, that's not really it. It's, I knew that I was going to need to do something after I retired. I was 49 when I retired, so fairly young for retirement. So I knew that just because of the nature of my personality, I was not going to be able to do something that didn't keep me challenged and didn't give me something to work toward in some way. So to keep a long story short, we had a couple of real estate transactions go down after I retired. We owned some property, and we owned a house close to where we currently live. And we decided that we were going to purchase a new place. But in order to make that happen, we had to sell the property, and we also had to sell our old house. And I had some real estate transactions prior to those, but during that process, I really got kind of interested in the process. So I was very curious to learn more, and that kind of got the wheels turning. So during that time, I decided, let me get my license and I'll see where it goes. And the initial plan was to kind of use it just for my own purposes, for investment purposes, and just a handy thing to have. So I went through the process. I got my license here in Florida, and I had it. And I'll tell you, getting a license, if people don't know this, getting a license is really the easy part, because it's a test. You study for the test. We've been studying all our lives through school. We know how to study. We know how to pass tests. So that wasn't all that much of a challenge. The hard part comes afterward, when you're trying to build a business and nobody's handing you people to sell houses to. That's not how this works. You have to go find your own business, and you have to build a business of your own. And that's where most people start to struggle, is in building a business and being able to make an income that way. So anyway, I got my license, and I knew that when I retired, like I said, I was going to be looking for something to do. And I realized that answer may be right here in front of me with this license that I now hold. So I said, let's, instead of just kind of putting it off to the side and just using it for my own purposes, maybe I can continue to, my nature is one of service. I've been doing that for so many years. It's just kind of in my nature and in my blood to be of service, and I like doing that. So when I realized that I could make that connection with my license after the fire service, I thought maybe this is the way to go. So rather than, and I've said this, on my social media as well, rather than, help being of service on the worst day of people's lives, like I used to do, maybe I could now be of service on one of the best days of their life, which is, buying a house, and being part of that real estate transaction. So that kind of made the connection for me. And that's kind of when I decided, okay, let me pursue this a little bit more heavily and see if I can actually make this work.
That's honestly so beautiful, Ken. And people don't think about that, right? When they think about retirement, they're like, when it ends, I'll figure it out. I'll
Right.
figure out what I want to do. And I love that there was a thoughtful process to you getting into it. And it's really along the lines of service that you've been doing for almost 30 years. And so, as a retired firefighter, you've been in the game for what, 30 years. You've done the 9-to-5 grind, but more like a 24/7 grind as a firefighter. Yeah. So I totally understand, so when you're now transitioning into real estate, and understanding that, this is going to be a little bit differently for you. And the fact that you're in retirement now. So how are you kind of working with your schedule? What's your schedule like? What's your day-to-day routine like when you're looking at real estate, and how you're implementing your work plan and your business plan?
Sure. So before real estate, my firefighter career, that was a schedule that was a 24/48 schedule, meaning I worked 24 hours on at the firehouse, and then the next 48 hours I had off. So, which is unusual. That's kind of a different schedule than most people who work a 9 to 5. Those 48 hours off did allow me to do a lot of, pursue other interests aside from my work as a firefighter. But now, having left that line of work, my schedule was pretty much completely open. And for the first year of my retirement, and I've only been retired about a year and a half now, but for the first year, I did take it easy, and I took some time for myself, and I got into some other activities that I really enjoyed, and I just kind of decompressed and kind of let that portion of my life go, which did take a while. I mean, that was ingrained in me for 30 years, so I needed that little break. But while I had the license, when I decided to actually move ahead and pursue, that's kind of when I knew I needed to figure out how this was going to work. Now, being retired, I do want to actually be retired. I don't want to get back into another career that is life consuming. So real estate is something that can accomplish that. I can work as much or as little as I want. So that was a benefit to me. If I want to really kill it and go out there and work hard, I can do that, and spend as much time with it as I want. Likewise, if I choose to, if I have things that I need to do for 6 months or whatever, I can back off and not be as productive, in that manner. So that's kind of how it works for me, as someone who's coming into this as a second career that doesn't rely on real estate to survive. So that's a big difference between me and a lot of other real estate agents. There's many people that are coming into this field and they need this. This is their only source of income. So they really have to go out there and put the pedal to the metal and make it work. Whereas for me, I have the luxury of not having to rely on this as my primary income. So that allows me the ability to kind of, take my foot on and off the gas as I need to.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And, even looking at real estate as a part-time gig, do you have a certain schedule, or how do you manage a work-life balance? Like, how do you know this is how much I want to take on and as little as I want to do? Because I see you online and you're pretty active. So I just want to talk about your work-life balance a little bit.
Sure. So I do a lot of the necessary real estate stuff in the morning. I find that's when I'm most productive. And a lot of times, the things that you have to do in real estate are not the most enjoyable things to do. But I've found through life experience that getting those things that you don't want to do out of the way early and getting them done is a way better method of doing it than procrastinating through the day and then eventually it just never gets done. So if I have to make calls, if I have to do things that I don't really want to do, rather than making YouTube videos or TikTok videos, that's the fun stuff. Yeah. But there are other parts that that they're not as fun for me. So I have to get those things done early, and that's kind of the flow that I do. Is I get those things done early. I'll get in the software and I'll make the updates, make any calls that I need to make, and I'll get that stuff out of the way. That way, it leaves the rest of the day open for me to either do the filming for the videos or pursue whatever other outside interests that I might have.
Yeah, and we'll get into this a little bit when we talk about some of the things that you're doing in terms of real estate. But I wanted to really touch upon the fact that you're making it really fun for yourself, right? You worked for a really long time and you were so dedicated to this job, and which you loved as well, right? And then and you want to still continue that passion, but in a way of different service, and not get so stressed out about it and still have a flexible lifestyle now, particularly because you're in retirement. So after you get your license, another big aspect of getting your license is aligning yourself with a brokerage. And so I want to talk a little bit about, of course, eXp Realty is one of the fastest growing brokerage in North America. It's a disruptive model. It's a very new model. So how did you hear about eXp, and why eXp Realty, and why not some brick and mortar location in your town?
So yeah, after I got my license, I wasn't really sure how any of that worked, and it wasn't until I talked to a friend of mine who handled my transactions, and he's not part of EXP. He and his wife work as a team, but he did suggest, hey, why don't you go look at EXP because they may have a model that you're looking at. In the meantime, I'm getting all of these like super highly produced brochures and folders from all of the big box names and even some more boutique names just coming to me in the mail trying to recruit the new licensee. And I guess that's how they do it.
Yeah.
But I spoke to a couple of people about EXP and a couple of people that were involved with EXP. And what I learned was that EXP was kind of going to fit the mold of the way I like to do business. For a long time, I worked in that field of my previous career. And I knew that I really didn't want to be stuck going into an office 5 days a week and listening to, whoever it is that they bring in, the broker, the trainer, whoever it is, talk to me about ways of selling real estate that may not best fit my personality. Again, I understand some people may not have that choice. This is something that they have to do, but I had the flexibility to kind of decide how I want to do it. So when I started looking into EXP, I realized that there are no offices, and this is a cloud-based brokerage. So I was able to formulate my schedule, training, all of the training that EXP offers. It's all online. It's done at your own pace. You can train on whatever subject EXP happens to have laid out for you that week. You can pick any of it and do it at your own speed. That was great for me. I knew I didn't want to have to get up in the morning, go to an office and do all that office kind of stuff. I have an office here in my house. The other thing that I realized was that the office model may be becoming a little bit outdated. People that are buying and selling houses, do they really want to come to an office and meet you? Probably not, especially not, in the pandemic state that we're in. They want to meet you at their house. They want to meet you maybe at the house that they're looking at buying, and you can do your business that way. I haven't had anybody have to come to my office at my home. We do it through text messaging, through email, through meeting at certain other places, even if it's a Starbucks, wherever they are most comfortable. But I just didn't see the need to pay the desk fees of an office when I just really didn't need to.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And the ability to work anywhere, anytime, right? And
correct.
And not pay for things that you didn't need to because you weren't using them. And
Right.
And I like that you really touched upon the fact that we are in a pandemic, right? In 2020, EXP exponentially it grew so much more in that time when doing a pandemic is because of the need for people that they were currently paying for and were going to pay for spaces that they weren't using. So I really like that you touched upon that. And for those of you that don't know, but when you join the EXP Realty, you have the ability to choose a sponsor and to align yourself with the sponsor. And you chose to join Agent Wolfpack and myself. And I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. Why us? What kind of research were you doing prior to finding your sponsor?
So I met with an EXP agent locally here, and he kind of gave me the rundown of how EXP was set up. Then I started, I went down the YouTube rabbit hole like most people do when they're researching things. And I am a researcher. You ask my wife, it takes 2 months for me to buy a TV if we need one. So it's just, that's how I operate. So I did that. And I found Mike Sherrard's videos, which he's just everywhere on YouTube. If you type in real estate, he's right there at the top. Now, I'm probably about the oldest tech geek you're ever going to meet. I enjoy technology. I like social media. And what he had to say just resonated with me. And the more videos I watched, the more I realized this is EXP. This is what they're doing. And Mike has kind of really focused in on this one particular area of using social media to build your business. Then through those videos, I came across your interview with Mike. And because of the video that you produced and sharing your success using social media and Mike's strategies, I reached out to you. And because of your input and the discussions that we had and all of the things that Mike had to offer through becoming part of the Wolfpack, that really made sense to me, and it just really struck a chord with me. This is where I want to be.
Yeah.
These are people that know what they're doing. They are focused on this particular strategy of building business. That's for me. So that sealed the deal for me. And we sat through, I don't know, several meetings with you and I over Zoom. I talked to Mike on a couple of occasions. We did the Clubhouse thing for a little while.
Yeah.
So all of those things were big contributing factors into me choosing you as my sponsor.
That's amazing, Ken. And I also want to talk about, like, every time I sit with an agent in our team and we talk about it, one of the common theme that keeps coming up is the idea of research and people doing the homework and figuring out, and after people go into this business, not really quite knowing what they want. And the only way for you to understand and get to know this industry is by talking to people, is by doing your research, doing your kind of research, but dipping into within yourself to figure out, what do I need? Like, you didn't go align with the real estate agent that helped you purchase your property because you realized that brokerage works for them, but might not work for you, your lifestyle that you have now. So I love that you touched upon that, and the fact that you're really good with technology, and that's a really good segue to, you were so passionate about KV Core. You laugh about this, the fact that you're on TikTok and you're so active on TikTok and so good at getting on TikTok and using all these trending different types of method of TikTok, you're putting out content. So I want to kind of touch upon that. It doesn't have to be just TikTok, because I know you're active on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. So what is that one thing that's really working for you right now?
The one thing that I'm really finding success with right now is TikTok, which, I got to be honest, if you would have told me 6 months ago that I would have even had the app on my phone, I would have laughed at you. But seeing, what was possible through this app. I took a lot of leads from Noah, who's really killing it with TikTok. He's really doing a great job. I started out with a few videos, just kind of testing the waters to see what direction I wanted to go. And then I saw, some of the type of direction that Noah was using. So I started to incorporate a little bit of that type of thing, along with a few other little things, and I made it my own. The other thing that I really like about TikTok is that it is a new platform. And for somebody like me or us to get involved with a social media platform, all of the others, with the exception probably of YouTube, they are all pretty much paid. Your Facebook reach in your Facebook page, they want you to pay. They want you to pay to put your content out in front of your followers. That's why they have Facebook ads. Same with Instagram. If you want any kind of real reach with Instagram, you got to pay for it in the form of advertising or boosting your posts, or however they do it, which can be done. It's certainly doable. But TikTok, everything is organic. I haven't paid a dime to TikTok, and I think I'm up to 4,000 followers right now on TikTok. So none of that cost me a dime, other than just my time and the effort of putting into producing the videos. So that is a huge leg up in trying to get your name out there and using TikTok as a lead generation strategy. So that's why I've been kind of focusing on it. YouTube, I do like YouTube, and the best thing about YouTube is that as much effort as it takes to make a YouTube video, and that's my biggest issue with YouTube, is that it just takes me forever to build those videos, putting the content together, structuring it out, filming it, editing it. It's just a long process. But once it's done, it's there forever, and it will bring that business. People watch it, from here to eternity, and however long YouTube lasts. But it's out there forever, and so it's work done once that brings in results, for as long as you want it to. Yeah, and that's the real benefit of YouTube.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to touch upon YouTube is the fact that people get to see you. There's a vulnerability part. Yeah. People get to know you. They get your energy. They get to hear you. And I think you just taking it to another level, right? And remember, YouTube is the #1 search engine. People are on there. They're constantly searching. And I wanted to, because I know there are times when when in the process of you getting started, and you were getting a lot of good feedback coming from, clients and leads reaching out to you. I wanted to ask you, how's it going so far? And I know you had some really good interactions with some potential clients. So can we talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I've had a handful of people reach out from YouTube, and I only have a handful of videos on YouTube at this point. But the ones that I've made have kind of found their mark, and they have generated some conversations. Likewise with TikTok, I have a handful of people now that I'm speaking with through the TikTok app that are interested in possibly working with me to make their transaction happen here in Southwest Florida. So that's when I came into the Wolfpack, TikTok, that wasn't even on my radar. But here now, I'm finding out that this is the thing that is really working the best for me right now. So I'm going to continue pushing forward with that while also continuing to build the others, but really focusing my efforts on the TikTok app.
Hey, I'm not going to lie. I love your content. You're really good at it. You're super natural. And my husband, Josh, and I, we watch it all the time. And it's like, I can't believe my husband and I, we try getting on TikTok and we're like, okay, this is not for us, And
Yeah.
But this is the whole issue with people not really thinking, like, you have to have an open mind. You need
for sure.
You need to be, you'll never know what you're good at until you give it a try. Mm-hmm. And I love that with, coming into this whole totally different career, you're taking on things that are new to you, that are different, that other people aren't doing, but you're also enjoying it in the process. So I really want to talk about that. So I want to ask you one last question is, do you have any advice for people who are transitioning into a new career, of course, into real estate, but especially after retirement?
After retirement, sure. Some people, I have the advantage of being a relatively young retiree. So that was one thing that I had working for me. There are people who retire, a decade after my age. And they just may want to enjoy retirement fully, and that's absolutely great, and people have the means to do that. But knowing how I am, just in my personality, that really wasn't going to work for me. I don't play golf. I'm a terrible fisherman. I like boating, but I did have to have something that was going to fill my time, and I knew that whatever that thing was going to have to challenge me and engage me, just because I know that about myself. That's why real estate kind of spoke to me, because it was learning a new career from the ground up. It's not something that I'd already been involved with. I didn't go into another path in the fire service. This is something brand new to me, and that's what really spoke to me. So if you are someone who is retiring and you know that you're going to be looking for something to do, and you're up for the challenge, real estate is it. Real estate is the way to go, because it is a challenge, and every day is a challenge. Everything from figuring out how to apply for the test, to passing the test, taking the course, passing the test, and then through building a business. It is all a challenge, and there's so many little aspects that you can focus on. So for people that are up for that type of a challenge and need that in their life, this is a great way to go. That's as far as being a retiree, I can't see a better way to do things if you like having a challenge.
Beautiful. Honestly, Ken, lastly, I want to say you're a super inspiring person. You're an incredible person. I want to say thank you for spending time with us here today, talking about everything. And I want to say thank you for your time, but thank you for your service. And, and I think you're going to inspire a lot of people to go into, retirement with this interesting outlook on, challenging yourself. So I love that. I love the way you ended that. And for those of you that want to get in touch with Ken, ask him questions and reach out, I'm going to put Ken's information in the description below. And if you have any question, feel free to leave it in the comment, and myself or Ken will get to you. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and please feel free to subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much, Ken.
You bet. Thanks, Tharmila.
Thank you.